Dear friends and members of the KITION Planetarium Observatory, welcome again to another online science cafe. As you all most probably know, every last Tuesday of every month throughout the year, we hold online science cafe free of charge for our members and friends from all over the world. We have people joining from England, as you saw online, people from Australia, they wake up early in the morning, and we have different people joining from time to time from different continents. We haven't had anyone joining from Antarctica yet, but hopefully we get one. Last time we have Brazil, Mexico. So this evening we have with us a very interesting guy, because I know him personally, very interesting character, and a very close friend of me, Mr. Stelios Trikos. And he's going to be talking about a very interesting and very important subject, a very important topic. Cybersecurity is something that worries everyone, and we have been victims lately, although we have a lot of knowledge about that and a lot of expertise in computer science, engineering, and avoiding hackers invading our systems. No matter how much security we have been victims. So we thought about calling our friend, who is an expert in the field, and he will enlighten us with his instructional knowledge. Stelios Trikos is a cybersecurity and digital forensics expert. His job duties primarily consist of security incident response, security assessments, digital forensic investigations, network and systems defense, cloud security and deception technologies. In his presentation, he will introduce the audience to the different areas of cybersecurity issues and also give examples of protective actions. If you visit our website, astronomycyprus.eu, and press the link under the picture of our friend, there is a link to his curriculum vitae. You can go through it. It's very interesting, a lot of achievements and knowledge, and he will share them with us. Feel free to participate, and at the end we'll have a little chat and discussion with your questions or something that bothers you, or you want to ask about things that happen to you, to get his opinion or use his expertise. Stelios, the stage is yours. Welcome to our Science Cafe. We are happy and honored to have you with us tonight. You may share your screen and your presentation.
Thank you.
And of course, everybody, as we always do, this will be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel. You can have a link through the top right corner of our website. Press the YouTube channel button, and you will find there all our previous science cafes. Okay, we are ready to proceed. Stelios.
Thank you, George. So tonight we are going to be talking about security awareness. As George told you, this is a very trending subject, and most of us have been either hacked or we have received a link on our mobile phone that says, please click here to reset your password, for example. So it has a lot of dangers. Security, to be aware of security and how to use our devices and the internet is very important. So this is a good opportunity to go. It's a very high level training. We are going to see some aspects of the internet and how we can protect ourselves from the dangers. So today we are going to see what is information, a few things about the internet, emails, social engineering, passwords, how to manage our passwords, how we can, what is a malware, some of the different types of malware and their effect on our devices. Also, we are going to see how we can secure and back up our data And finally, some data protection and privacy tips about how we can protect ourselves, the rights that we have based on some legislations, regulations. So let's get started. Now, what is information? As you know, information and data are two different things. For example, if you know what is information and what is data, it's a good start. Because data is it's an abstract set of letters, of numbers. For example, if we have a set of data, lots of data together, maybe they can process in some way that have a meaning. When that data has a meaning, then it becomes information. Okay, for example, as we can see here, a credit card number, if we see a credit card number, could be data. For example, if I see some numbers like this could be data. But if I know that this is a credit card number, then it suddenly becomes information. So I know what this is about. So how about an address? For example, if I hear the word Nicosia, is this data or is this information? What do you think? Nicosia. This is data, something that it has a meaning, but in order to become information, you have to put it in a sentence. For example, Gidi, where George lives. George lives in Gidi becomes information. So if we have some abstract words or numbers, does it have a meaning, or is it important to protect it? What do you think? I think data is not so important to protect as information is. So if we know what that data is, then it becomes has more sensitivity. It has some value that we need to protect. How about a password? Do you think a password? If you have this number, okay, this is just a number. This is data. But if I know that this is the password of Chris' laptop, then it becomes a valuable information. Maybe for a hacker, if a hacker finds this number and he knows that this is Chris' password, then it has a value and can be used for malicious purposes. Okay, so this is very important, and the sensitivity of information has to do with the value that it has and what impact it may have for us. Okay, if you have any questions while we are talking about this, please stop me and we can clarify things. So the internet is something that I think all of us is using. To be in this call, everyone is using as well. So everyone in Cyprus most probably has used the internet and is using it on a daily basis. It's one of the most useful tools that we have right now. It's a global network that connects everyone around the world. It's very important because we can share information through the internet. And this information could be very helpful. For example, we can learn about things. As I understand, you are part of the planetarium where you share information online and you learn things between yourselves. You can access things that before the internet we didn't know that they existed. So it's a very important tool for everyone nowadays. With the search engines, we can search about anything and get information about things that we are interested in. Can somebody tell me if what we find online, when I do a Google search, is it always legitimate? Is it always credible? Do you think that the information that we find online is credible? Is always correct?
No.
What do you think?
Not always, of course.
I agree. So it's not always.
Especially the links.
Yes, the links, and some information, for example, either for medical or for anything, for entertainment. Some things may be true, and some things is just for clickbait. It's called. They ask you to click on it, advertising that this is something exciting, something important. And you click on it, but it's something completely irrelevant. So you have to be a bit careful about that. So the internet can help us with the online purchases. If we want to buy something, we can connect on the internet and purchase something online. So it's a very useful tool. And we can...
Sorry, Stelios, just initially though, yeah. I thought the internet was set up by when they were doing in CERN, when they were using it to literally transfer data amongst all the scientists that were working on the Hydra project. And so I thought that was a sort of early use of the internet. So
yes,
did it start off as being a data transfer system that has grown into becoming information, or
the communication platform? It's a communication and a data transfer platform where you connect devices, computers between them, so that we can transfer data. Now, if that data is voice, or if it's files, or video, or anything, it's the network connection that was established to be able to have this kind of transfer. Now, the internet as a whole, where it became public, it has been commercialized. I mean, it's an important tool for work, but also for commercial purposes. So that, yes, it started as something with the army, for example. It was in the army in the US. It started there, and it exploded. It expanded throughout the world.
It was a university project for the army, I believe, and it was called ARPANET.
ARPANET, yes, it was ARPANET, yes.
It was a point-to-point connection using some data transfer protocols.
Yes. And now we are unique numbers with our IP addresses. We are unique numbers among the internet, where they can track us. I know we can put the VPN and through a proxy, and there are different techniques to hide ourselves, or through Tor, but that's for another meeting. Now, there's also the new trend is artificial intelligence. I don't know if you know about artificial intelligence. There's some websites online, for example, ChatGPT is called, where you can go there and interact with the artificial intelligence. You can ask it to perform some operations for you. For example, you can tell it to write an essay or a summary of something. It will. It's like it's talking to another person with intelligence that can provide you with information, the information that you ask.
So, may I ask a question? We know that in some social media or some fake friends that you can buy online, or in some games, so that you can get some credits, or some fake bots, they are called. Yeah. Are these bots considered part of the artificial intelligence?
They have some intelligence. It's a bit different.
Or it's just logarithm?
Yes. I believe they can be considered as artificial intelligence because they are automated. And there is some form of interaction. It offers automatic interaction with the user. So it can be considered as an artificial intelligence. But there are, for example, the ChatGPT, it has evolved very much. It's considered at a very high level. Of course, we should expect that this will evolve as time goes by, and eventually we will be very surprised with the level that they will reach and how intelligent they will become. But this, I believe, we will see it in the near future, because as we feed the artificial intelligence with more knowledge, and our interaction with the artificial intelligence provides more knowledge to it. So as time goes by, it will become more intelligent. And because it's spread on different servers, it is very, very powerful. And as organizations start spending more money to it, it will evolve. I think to a scary level pretty soon. So the dangers of the internet is a loss of privacy. We lose our privacy with the social media, social networks. We have a presence online, so everyone can see our photos, our interactions, and everything. So there's little privacy on the internet. We should be very careful with the internet fraud. So there could be financial loss. For example, if somebody gets our information, our bank information, we may start losing money and don't understand where that money went to. Cyberbullying, which is very, very serious type of crime, and online predators, where there are reports that some people interact with younger people. Okay, it's another subject, but it's very scary. If you also have kids, we should be very careful with online predators, because behind the screen, if someone sends a message, we don't know who is behind the message. Maybe to a 15-year-old, she will receive a message that, would you like to meet, for example, and becomes friend with them, but behind the message may be a person that may cause harm to the kid. So we should be very careful. There's social impact. We close ourselves behind the screen. Okay, we lose the interaction with our friends and family because we spend a lot of time on our screen, and this leads to addiction, which I believe many of us are addicted to the internet. Now, some of the things, some important things, for example, if you see a link, you should never trust it. Okay, you should be very careful before clicking on a link. I put here a very simple example. Okay, for example, you see this google.com. If I leave my mouse on it, I can see that this is actually yahoo.com, correct? Is it visible on the screen? So if I click to google.com, where will it take me?
Yeah.
Take me to Yahoo. Okay, this is a very simple, most probably everyone knows about this, but we should always be careful. If we see something that triggers us and, okay, I want to click on this to see where it takes me, be very careful where it will really take you. So I have a very interesting video here because it's a bit long. We will not see it now because it's about 7 minutes. I highly recommend that you watch it. I will paste it on the chat, and maybe find time, even though it's 8 years old. Okay, it's really, really, really very relevant to today's what we are facing today. Okay, I highly recommend you watching it. So, talking about clicking on links that we do not know. If you happen to, for example, someone received an email from Apple, seemingly from Apple. Okay, we visit the website and we see this screen here. And we have this website up here. Is this legitimate? What do you think? This is the website that.
Guadangamo.com.
Yes, exactly. So we have to be careful. Again, this is something we can elaborate on another session if you want to be to go into more detail, more technical details. But this is completely not Apple. Okay. Even though the one that did this website, it's it seems legitimate. This is not legitimate. So the browser highlights this part here, and we should be careful. We should take note that this is the website it's trying to redirect me to. So this is dangerous. It's not Apple, definitely. So emails is very, very important. It's the preferred communication method for most businesses to this day. I mean, on a daily basis, at work, mostly at work, we are using the emails extensively. So we should be very, very careful. Most of the attacks, it's a fact, this is a fact, most of the successful attacks originate from emails. Okay, so when we receive an email, we should be very careful, and we shouldn't extend it. Okay, to if you know someone that you have regular interactions with, it's okay to be a bit more loose. I mean, with your suspicion that maybe it's something dangerous. So when you see an email, be careful. Be careful of spam or junk. These are a form of commercial advertising. Okay, I believe most of these can be understood as they arrive on your inbox. As soon as you see it, you understand that it's a spam or a junk. The phishing emails are a bit more dangerous because they attempt to obtain sensitive information. For example, it could be an email seemingly from the bank, okay, or from a shop that you went for Marks and Spencer, for example. Okay, and it will say that about your purchase. Click here. You click here, you click there, and it may redirect you to a seemingly legitimate website, and many things could go wrong from there on. There's also the spear phishing. The spear phishing, these are targeted attacks. Okay, these people, many of the times, the people that send the phishing email knows your interactions, your previous interactions, and the email that you will receive, it will be very targeted. Okay, so this is a very dangerous type of phishing. So how do we understand if an email is not legitimate? There are a lot of ways. We should be careful. We should be careful if this says that it's Bank of Cyprus online. They have a lot of typos. Usually they have mistakes. Grammatically, the sentences may be wrong. For example, this person here that sent this email is Bank of. Okay, it's very, very difficult for a large organization to have this type of typos. And also the email address. Is this from Bank of Cyprus?
Well, the domain is different.
Definitely not. So
sometimes they have the similar domains. For example, the phishing.
Yes, you are correct. So if I put, let me demonstrate. If I have this and this, these are completely different. This extra K here, maybe someone will register this. Okay, that extra K makes it a completely different website. Or something like this. These are completely different, can be completely different websites. Okay, so it has this strange attachment. It's not a PDF. It's not, again, even a PDF can be very dangerous, but we have to be very careful. For example, your account has been restricted due to multiple invalid information on your profile. What is this? Due to multiple invalid information on your profile. Okay. We should be careful what they are trying to tell us in the email. Try to understand what is going wrong. Okay. This is definitely one of the primary things to watch. Okay.
Stelios, can someone like the Bank of Cyprus have these illegitimate sites removed?
They cannot. They will, once somebody reports that. Let me show you. If Bank of Cyprus reports that this domain is not legitimate, it's causing malicious interactions with users, they will be able to put it down. But until they put it down and the authorities arrange to put it down, okay. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. I forgot to put it on site. Sorry.
First, they have to put, but it's a different registration name which they are allowed to.
Yeah, until they put it down, until they put down this website, okay, it may cause a lot of harm to several people, okay, because until it gets noticed and Bank of Cyprus contacts the authorities, okay, maybe it will take a day or two. So during that time, a lot of attacks can be successful. If this is taken down, okay, look what they are doing. If they do this, again, this is a different website. Okay, so they start over. So it is extremely difficult for the banks and for organizations to mitigate all these websites and take them down on time. So we should be very careful where we click. Now, not everybody will know that this website could be the correct one, or Hellenic Bank, for example. There is this one here. It was malicious a couple of days ago. So until the website was taken down, all the interactions to this website may have caused harm to some people that were tricked into clicking on that link and enter their credentials. Okay. So
just by clicking, you give them access directly, Stelios, or they will ask a secondary question that you have to approve later, or.
I had another slide where they will put you a questionnaire, for example, or have the fields to enter your name, your password, your username, address, and everything. It seems legitimate, but
so
it's
the
not.
data will become information. They're collecting different data together, that when they are gathered together, piece by piece, they have the information.
I have it on another slide. It would have been interesting to see if you would like, but I can show it to you later. So yes, you get a very legitimate website, and it tells you to enter your information. Okay, and once they have your information, for example, your username and password, they can use it for malicious purposes to access your account, for example.
Something, okay. You see, where you show there, Stelios, mainly they send it to undisclosed recipients. So it means that they send it to thousands of emails. So if it's something which is usually referred to you, dear customer, for example, it's impossible to be specifically for you if it's if it was sent to many people. So it's sometimes it makes you wonder, when did I put my password, for example, 10 times that I did this mistake? But they usually cause panic so that you act immediately. Yes. This is what they're trying to do.
It has a sense of urgency, so it urges you to click so that you don't lose time. That's how they see it. That if you don't lose time, you are going to click immediately and reset your password, for example. But if you go to that website where you will reset your password, they are just taking your password, your legitimate password, and use it for their purposes. So moving on, this is another email. Again, this I removed the email address because this was to a specific person. So this was spear phishing because it was not to a lot of people, it was to specific people. And as we can see here, again, it's completely sorry. Okay, this is livemail.com. This we can see at another session because this is very, very important, but it's a little bit more technical and we will need more time to understand it, how the meaning of this, of the domain. Okay, maybe you already know it. If you already know it, then you should take note of the domain name, of the real domain name. Okay. So moving on. Social engineering. Social engineering is the art of manipulation, exploiting a person's trust and willingness to help and curiosity. So this is basically if we are at a party, for example, and someone comes close to me and starts questioning me about information about the organization that I work for. And they start asking strange questions, like, for example, what time do you go to work? Or what time does the bank opens, for example? Or what time do you use a card to enter the door? This is information that someone that with malicious intent can use, so they can gain access to unauthorized access to the physical location, for example. Maybe they want to enter the office, and they try to get this information. They might seem abstract and casual questions, but they may have a purpose behind it. Or for example, if someone gives you a USB memory stick, that memory stick may have a virus. So we should be very careful, even if we know the other person. If they give us a memory stick, where was that memory stick? What does it contain? Do we know? Are we going to connect it on our computer without any hesitation? What do you think? Isn't it dangerous? Because if as we are going to see later, if it contains a virus, many things could go wrong. They may even take control of our computer. So we should be very careful. Now, how can we protect? As we are going to see later on the malware section, we need to have an antivirus for sure. But again, if you don't know the person, do not connect. There are a lot of people that give it as a lot of, there are organizations or shops that were giving, I don't see this anymore, to be honest. They were giving USB memory sticks that it was as a present. Okay, when you take it and connect it on the computer, you don't know if it contains a virus. Maybe they don't even know if it contains a virus. So we should be very, very careful. This is what we talked about. And a phone call, even if you receive a phone call from a bank, would you give your information, your personal information, if it's an unknown number? Or if there's a trend about Microsoft, they are calling us and telling us we are from Microsoft. and you have a problem with your computer and they are trying to get some information from us. So we should be very skeptic and ignore these kinds of information, of calls. About the passwords now, it's very, very important. So passwords, what is the impact of someone finding the password of your Instagram account? So this is, it's different for each one of us, it could be different. Maybe an Instagram account would not be so important for me, but for George, could be very important. It depends on if he has 2 million followers, for example, and someone gets access to his account because a hacker found his password. He could post a lot of things that could ruin his image. The bank account. Now, the bank account could be, for some of us, could be a good thing if they get the account to our bank. If we have a lot of loans and we owe money to people, maybe they can have the bank account, full access to it and do whatever they want with it.
Unless they increase the loan.
So this is up to them if they want to keep it. But if we have money, they can proceed with some payments or purchase things online, and we may later on maybe we will find that we lost money because we lost our password. So the phone's password, this would be very dangerous for some people. Okay, because our life maybe in the literally maybe in that phone we have photos, we have contact names, we have notes, we have documents, maybe most probably work documents. If someone gets a hold of that personal information or corporate information, it would be very, very dangerous. So how can we protect? One way is with the two-factor authentication or the multi-factor authentication. For example, if you want to connect to your bank account from your laptop, the bank will require you will put the username and the password, and now you will also need to put another code that will be sent on your mobile phone. If you are not using this, you should. It's critical to use it. Okay. So the multi-factor
they cannot simulate this as well. Hackers.
It's very difficult. I mean, you work at CIDA, correct? So if someone will send the information, the multi-factor authentication will be sent on my phone number. How can someone get a hold of my for the SMS to be redirected to another number? Since I have that number,
maybe he has this piece of information.
Sorry?
Maybe they have this piece of information.
But even if he knows the number, the phone number, how can the hacker redirect the number somewhere else? What could be done is if they can bypass the two-factor authentication, which is another story, this would be possible. Or if you have an application, instead of the phone number, you have, for verification, you have an application to approve the access. If that application is installed on another device, maybe they can do it, yes. And finally, we should never share passwords with others. Malware. There are viruses, there are different types of malware. This is a general term, the malware. We have viruses, ransomware, backdoor.
I am sorry, Stelios, we have question previous in chat. Could you
sorry,
check it?
I didn't see it, I apologize. What if someone creates a virtual number exactly like so there was, if money was taken from their account, can that be tracked? Yes, it can be tracked sometimes, But what happens if the money, this is happened in real life, okay? This is a fact, what I am telling. So if money was taken from their account, they can transfer it to a temporary account to a country that allows this kind of temporary account, and they can take the money from there and bye-bye. Okay, you will be able to track it, but you will not be able to track the person that took the money and left. So they are no longer in an account. So yes, it's possible to track it, but it gets lost somewhere. You lose track of the chain due to physical reasons, most probably. So if someone creates a virtual number exactly like yours, can this be done? The virtual number is for, you create a virtual number for outgoing calls, not to receive calls. So this is up to the provider. For example, SIDA, MTN, Epic. If they have the correct security controls, it will be difficult for someone to redirect. Even if you have a virtual number, it's only for you to make virtual calls outside. And that, yes, that is possible. You can call with my number, for example. The other person receiving the call will see my number, even though you are calling from another device.
There are some sites that you can assign the number, yes, and you can do a voice call.
But how about the receiving call? Because the SMS will come to a specific number. How can they bypass that?
The SMS cannot be forwarded. Only the calls can be forwarded.
Okay, so the SMS will this work? What do you think?
You can forward a telephone call, but you cannot forward. You can divert or forward the telephone call, but you cannot divert the message unless you have multi-SIMs.
You are talking about the receiving the email or sending.
Yeah, receiving.
Okay, okay. So it's better. It's much more safer than not having it at all. Okay, with Litsa says that with WhatsApp, there have been many hackers creating virtual numbers pretending they are someone else. Exactly. But this is for outgoing, correct? Only for out, not the receiving, because when you are going to receive the code, you are going to receive it on your phone. Yes, so incoming, this is an incoming message. When I receive the multi-factor authentication from my bank to connect to my account, I will not be doing the call. They will be sending it to me. So it's an incoming SMS. I think it's safe. It may not be completely safe, but it's safer, much safer than not having it at all. So malware. If you don't have any other questions, we can continue, or you can type them on the chat, or
better we don't use the same password everywhere.
Yes.
And not an easy password must include always a symbol, letter, capital.
Elisa is asking, are there ways to track where these WhatsApp numbers are created if they are virtual numbers? I mean, you can call if the virtual number, for example, is my number. Someone creates a virtual number. I will contact my internet service provider. It's very difficult to identify them because there have been a lot of cases like this, and we were not able to track them down. To be honest, it's quite difficult. Because you have to speak with the service provider that created that virtual account. I mean, if there's an application that does this, it has to go through a service. If that service provider doesn't give you information, then there's nothing you can do. So it's a matter of tracking down and finding the correct information as long as they are willing to provide that information, but usually they do not. And the thing is that they are trying to protect their customers. They offer a service. So if they provide you with that number, okay, who created that virtual account, and they give you that number, that information, it means that they destroyed their business. Because what they offer is protection to the person using the virtual account. There's no problem, no information is collected. Yeah, so that's the problem. No information is collected. Yes. So shall we proceed?
Yes.
Malware, such malicious software. Now, with the malware, some devices are more prone to virus, to malware than others. For example, Windows, because it's more open for us to make changes to the operating system and install things. It has less control and is more prone to viruses. Okay, even though we have the freedom, it has the danger of installing viruses on the device. Okay, so we should be extra careful. It's a known fact that Macintosh, Apple devices are more protected. Okay, they don't let the people using those devices do a lot of things. I mean, intervene with the operating system or anything on their devices. Only they are just users, and everything is very controlled in that environment. So it's difficult for someone to pass a virus on those devices. Okay, the common ways to get infected is email attachments or links, infected files, infected USB devices. These are some of the common ways to get infected. We should be very careful. Ways to protect, we should have an antivirus, and we should not click or open files from untrusted sources. This should be followed by everyone. This is a computer that got infected with a ransomware. Ransomware, they lock your computer, they lock your files, and they want a ransom. For example, it says send 300 worth of Bitcoin to this address. You know, maybe if you send them the money, maybe they will give you the code to decrypt your data. And this
maybe not.
Sorry?
Maybe not, they will ask for more.
Most probably. So this takes us to securing and backing up our data. So it's very, very important that we save our data. What is the impact of losing your data due to hardware failure, or if your data gets stolen? So again, this is something that can be answered only by each one of us individually. For example, if I lose the photos of my children where they were young, I would be heartbroken. So losing that data, that will have a huge impact on me.
The problem, Stelios, is not if you lose the picture, where they will use the picture on which site.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Where they will use that picture. So there are two aspects: to secure your data and to back up your data. They are interlinked because data is important, information is important. We have it stored on our devices, so we should protect it. So how do we protect? Always keep a backup of your data. This can be done with cloud backup or external hard drives, for example. If you are using either of the two or both, it's ideal, but do keep backup of your data, George. So,
and not on an NAS, on a file server, but
it should be at least in two places. You should keep a copy somewhere else as well. Encrypt your data. This is a bit dangerous. So if you encrypt your data, you are securing it from if someone steals that data. For example, if I have a memory stick where I have some important information on it, and I have it encrypted with BitLocker, if it's encrypted, the one that steals it will be very, very difficult to read it because they will not have my password. Because usually encrypting the data, we use a password to encrypt it. So if they don't have the password, but they have the device, it will be very difficult to decrypt. But if there's a hardware problem, then they will be very difficult to retrieve. And finally, store the backup drive securely. So you should also keep it somewhere secure. If I have an external hard disk and I have it lying here and there, I leave it under the sun, it will get destroyed. So the device that we are storing our data, our backup data should be secured as well. Maybe have it in a drawer or something, lock it somewhere. And we have the data protection. This is for all European citizens, but all the countries, they do have regulations that need to be followed by websites. So for example, in Europe, we have the GDPR, where the personally identifiable information should be handled with consent from the users. This is why we get these pop-ups all the time. Every time we go to a new website, we are going to get a pop-up to agree and proceed. Okay, now it's up to us. If we agree and proceed, they will start creating the cookies on our computers and start tracking us, which could be not important, but sometimes it could be important because it stores some information that maybe it's sensitive, that we do not want to share. For example, what sites we are visiting. For example, I don't want a website that I visit to be able to access those files and see what interactions I had with other websites. I'm just giving an example. Okay, so what they do with these cookies is they see if I like video games, okay, and I visit websites with video games. If I visit another website, I will start getting pop-ups of advertisements about video games, the latest video game, for example. And this information, they get it from cookies. Okay, if we want to lower the amount of cookies that they create, we can go to more information. This is one example, okay? And lower down, how many cookies, either lower or rise the bar here. So if it makes only required cookies, okay, and skip the advertising cookies. And
why still there is the option to minimize or cancel the answer and still proceed?
Because as European citizens, we are allowed to choose if a website can track us or not.
Yes, but
so we choose.
You answer yes or no to proceed, but sometimes you get it minimized. Or
depends on the website, what they want to have as the default. So it's up to them. We as citizens of the European Union are allowed not to accept this and go away from the website without, we shouldn't proceed. If we believe that we don't want to share any information with them, we just leave the website. So before they start tracking us, they give us the option to agree or choose what they will be tracking us. They will be tracking us, okay? But what level they will be tracking us, okay? How many information are they going to receive after we proceed? But it's with our consent, okay? We agreed to this and we went to the website. And that's it, guys and girls. So
It's
if you have
very,
any questions, we can answer them now.
it was a very important.
Informative.
Let's see you.
Others, what antivirus software do you recommend? This is after we can answer this after the recording stops. But there are a lot of it depends on which version of Windows you have, but I can tell you later. Do you have any other questions?
Individually, separately, individually and separately. You're supposed to talk to the question, yeah.
Sorry?
Individually and separately is the correct way to answer that question for which antivirus system to use.
Okay.
As far as I can say.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Stelios. On, I know you said you didn't want to talk about VPNs,
Yes.
but pretty much every YouTube site that I go on, they're always pushing for one VPN provider or another, saying that's the safer way of browsing. Is it that important, and is it worth $1.99 a month?
It depends if you want to be anonymous, not exactly anonymous, but if you want to have some anonymity, because let's see, if I go here, now globally, I am this number here. It will appear in white. Globally, not detected. Globally, I am this number. Okay. Now I am connected on the internet with this unique number. Anyone, I can be tracked. Okay. If I do something malicious online with this computer now, without using a VPN, they will be able to track me down. So if we see it from the perspective that we are connecting to the internet and we want to be anonymous, not to be able to be tracked easily, because we will be able to be tracked, but it will not be that easy. Okay, we can do it the VPN ultraset. If you have time, I can give you a demonstration with this. It's not advertisement, it's just because it's free. I can show you.
Yes, it's a good idea. This VPN.
This is VPN, yes.
When you use VPN, it's difficult to be tracked, to enter some websites, correct? But is it more difficult for hackers or unwanted invaders to find you? Is it VPN is more safe for your network?
Safer, it's safer. Now what happens? I go through ultraset, okay. Now you remember I had a number there. I had this number, okay. Let's make a note.
That's the IP address.
Previous IP, current IP with ultraset. Now, what they offer you, a paid VPN will give you better. You have less latency. You will have. Give me a second. My IP. Okay. What is my
Is it-
IP now? Is this one. So this is the one I had before. If I go to
This will change. This is hopping. It will always change your IP with every certain period of time.
yes, the provider, this provides you. I have cable net. Sorry, George. I have cable net at home. Okay. This was my previous IP, my normal IP. Now the internet sees me as this IP. What is this IP? I go through the United States. Okay. So what this means is that if I connect with SIDA, so if I go out of this, if I close it, and I ask it again, what is my IP? You see, I got my normal IP back. This is my cable. Okay.
You have static.
It's static, sorry, it's not static, but and as long as I don't restart my modem, because I didn't restart my modem. My modem, this is the IP of my modem, my internet service provider, correct? So if I restart UltraServe, let's see what I get.
Usually, it will. If you restart your modem, it could register with the same address. You could get a new one. It's dynamic. Yeah.
It depends on the ISP, what they want what IP they want to give me. So what is my IP now? I ask it again while I am connected to the VPN connection. I ask it, it should be another IP. So now I'm someone else.
Which country?
Yes, but
Should be United States again. Yes.
Is it California?
Yeah. So this provider, UltraServe,
Wyoming.
it's sending my data. All my data goes through them. Okay. So there is also this danger that if we do not trust the VPN provider, okay, I am sending them all the data now. If I do a Google search, there go cars. This traffic goes through their VPN. And also I have an impact to my speed because all of my traffic goes through through this provider. I do expect to have a lower bandwidth. Okay, so there are some implications. The paid VPN should not impact your performance, your online performance. So you see, it sees this IP. It sees the public IP that I have right now.
I can
And
get it.
it's a free service. That's why we have some difficulties. But I think you got the point, right?
Yes.
If you need some more information, we can.
we have question from Pan.
Yes. Are free VPN safe? I've heard that some of them sell your data. Yes, of course. It's free, so they can do whatever they want. If you go to Google Translate, for example, if you go to translate.com, would you trust uploading a document here for translation? It's the same thing. If you upload something to Google, that data belongs to them. They can use it. So yes, anything that we give, they can use. As long as there's a disclosure agreement between you and the provider, and that's why hopefully the paid service will not sell your data. You should be careful and read the policy before you sign.
How do you get this policy?
Sorry, George.
Sorry, how do you know that they will use? There is in the learn more, for example, session.
You have to go through the privacy policy, yes. The terms and conditions. it's I believe it's going to be an extended document, but you have to go through it if you have the patience. We have a question from Chris, sorry. Let me find it. How valuable is knowing my IP? So again, this depends on your what you do on the internet. For example, if you do something that is not legal, it's important if someone knows your IP. But personally, I don't mind someone knowing my IP, because that's why I don't use a VPN. So the information, if I am a bank, for example, or a company that has some sensitive information, or I have things facing the internet, so somebody is connecting to my IP. So it's something that I need to protect, because I don't want everyone to know my IP address. Knowing someone to know my IP address could potentially mean that they will be able to attack me.
Right.
There is that potential. Okay, it doesn't mean that will happen, but someone, if I know George's IP and I have the skills and the tools, I may be able to connect to his computer if it's not protected properly. Okay. But this is a bit more technical. If some of us want to have another chat, another session, and we can go into more details, I would be glad to have another session where we can gather questions and we can answer them in a more technical manner.
What about using firewalls? Because we haven't mentioned them, I believe.
Again, it's very important, depending if we want to protect our perimeter, meaning our.
And what does firewall mean in general?
It's protecting what we expose from outside that network. So it's like having a house, okay, with closed doors. Rather than me being in the open field, and everyone to see me, and maybe they can come and punch me, for example, or they can come and steal my wallet. I seclude myself behind a firewall. Imagine it's like having a fortress or our house. Don't we lock the doors? We lock the doors, especially at night. So we prevent others from entering the house. Imagine a firewall is something like that. It's like that. It protects us from the outside environment, which in this case is the internet. So it's important. If you believe that you are in danger, if you have sensitive information, for example, there is no company, hopefully there is no company organization that does not have a firewall, because it's critical to have a firewall if you want to protect yourself, your data, and your employees, people that are using your computer. But as home users, we are exposed to the internet all the time, but we are thinking, is there a reason to have that additional cost? Because if I want to put a perimeter firewall, it will cost me something. Am I willing to pay that extra? But anyway, the internet service providers have some form of firewall. I mean, they do protect us. They don't have everything exposed to the internet. So there's a kind of protection from our internet service provider as well.
Yes. So if we have the firewall from the modem that comes from the ISP, and the firewall from the Wi-Fi router, plus an additional firewall, how can they still attack us?
It's difficult. Okay, with the wireless, There are a lot of techniques. There are techniques that are successful. Again, it's more technical, but I can guarantee you that only being in the perimeter, in the range of your house, okay, it's only a matter of time if someone decides to hack your house, your Wi-Fi, and they have the skills to do so, they will be able to achieve it, because Wi-Fi is in the air. It's in the air, okay. So everyone can access it if they are in range.
They can turn off the IP cameras, etc.
This is something else to have in mind.
So it's better if you install a security system, you don't use wireless camera.
You are only, yes, you can mitigate the risk, and you cannot eliminate the risk. You should never think that, okay, I have no danger from the internet or from neighbors. Okay. You can mitigate it, you can lessen the danger. Anything else you would like to discuss?
I remember I went through security in the social media, and there was an example of someone who was living in a long distance from the town, and he posted that he is in Singapore, Thailand, like that. So he gave all the information to the thieves, to the burglars, that he's not at home. So then when they robbed the house, and that was information came from Facebook, the police was also telling about this and about not leaving the keys behind the door as well. So it's something similar here, not leaving the keys behind the door, which is, and especially in public, from the outside part of the door. Someone, I remember, someone who was training us in this organization about security, he said, if I told you to write on a board that and stand in the middle of the roundabout in the center of Larnaca or center of New York and say, hello guys, I got married tonight, they shouting, you will do it? Everybody said no. I said, why you post it online? You know, this is exactly what's happening. Right? We got used to it. For us, you know, it's something, it's like saying good morning, say good morning to everyone, but you give some information as well. So guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for being with us. And hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday on our online science cafe. Next Tuesday will be the last Tuesday of the next month, actually. Last Tuesday of February. See you soon.
See ya.